My fiancée plotted to steal our $80,000 savings and run with her cheating ex. I read their chat logs, secured every asset, and let her think I was clueless. When she tried to leave me at the altar, she walked away with nothing but cancelled plans and a crowd filming her fight with him. I'm 31 male, a structural engineer in Chicago. For 3 years, I was with Mia. We met at a friend's barbecue back in 2021 and got engaged last summer at Lake Michigan. We'd driven up at sunset, hiked to that little cove with the red rocks, and I got down on one knee with a ring I'd designed myself, simple platinum band, a tiny diamond from my grandma's necklace. She cried, hugged me so tight I could barely breathe, and said yes 100 times before kissing me as the sun dipped below the water. We bought a townhouse in Lincoln Park 6 months later, 1,800 square feet, 2 bedrooms, a tiny backyard with room for the rosebushes she'd always dreamed of. We split the bills evenly, opened a joint savings account for future plans, a bigger house, kids, maybe a vacation home, and watched it grow to $80,000 over the months. The wedding was just 2 weeks away. Church ceremony at St. Michael's, garden reception at that historic mansion in Oak Park, catered by her favorite Italian place, and on paper, everything was perfect. In reality? Mia had been acting weird for months, and I should have trusted my gut sooner. 2 weeks out from the big day, she was glued to her phone 24/7. Anytime I walked into the room, she'd quickly lock the screen or switch to the wedding planning app, saying, just texting the venue coordinator, or catching up with an old friend from college. She'd always been an open book, never had a password on her phone, never hid anything from me. Now, her phone was locked with a passcode I didn't know, and she'd stay up late on the balcony, huddled under that blue blanket I'd gotten her for Christmas, typing fast like her life depended on it. One night, I woke up at 2 a.m. to get a glass of water, and she wasn't in bed. I peeked through the sliding door, and she was laughing at her phone, a laugh I hadn't heard directed at me in months. When she saw me, she jumped, quickly put her phone face down on the patio table, and said, just finalizing the seating chart, some people keep canceling last minute. I nodded, but my stomach twisted. It wasn't just the phone, she'd been distant in other ways, too. She'd stop mid-conversation to stare at her screen, forget plans we'd made, like our weekly date night at that taco truck downtown, and even skip the last 2 cake tastings, saying, I trust your judgment, when she'd been the one obsessing over flavors for weeks. A few days later, I found a crumpled concert ticket in her car's glove compartment, Jax's band, the Renegades, playing in Detroit 3 days before our wedding. Jax, her ex-boyfriend from college. The guy who cheated on her with his bassist halfway through their senior year, the one she ranted about for weeks after they broke up, swearing she'd never speak to that liar again and that he'd ruined love for her. The ticket was folded up with a receipt from a bar in Ann Arbor, dated 2 weekends prior, when she'd told me she was helping her sister move. When I asked her about it, she snatched it out of my hand, face flushing. A friend gave it to me. I forgot to throw it away, she snapped, shoving it in her purse. I wanted to believe her, but the pieces weren't adding up. Then, while I was fixing the leaky faucet in the bathroom, she'd complained about it for weeks, and I'd finally found time to tackle it. I found a plastic bag hidden in the back of her closet. Inside was a faded black t-shirt with Jax's band logo on it, the same one she used to wear all the time before we started dating. She'd told me she'd thrown it out, because it reminded her of bad times. That night, she left her laptop open on the kitchen counter while she showered. I was making tea, and the screen lit up with a new message notification, sender, Jax. Curiosity got the better of me. I clicked on the open chat window, and my blood ran cold. They weren't just catching up. They were planning something. Jax, 2 weeks till your wedding, you sure you're gonna go through with the plan? Ethan's gotta be onto you by now. Mia, of course he's not. He's too busy being the perfect fiancé to notice. I'll tell him I'm having cold feet the night before, cry a little, say I'm confused, he'll feel bad and let me go without a fight. Then we'll grab the money and run to Detroit for the show. The tour van's all booked, just need the cash for gas and studio time. Jax, perfect. That $40,000 in the joint account will cover it all, studio time, gear upgrades, even a few more tour dates. You're the best, baby, knew I could count on you. Mia, I know. Just promise me we'll stay together this time. I'm leaving everything for you, my job, the house, Ethan. Don't make me regret it. Jax, course, babe. We're gonna be famous. Think of all the shows, all the fans, we'll forget Ethan ever existed. Now delete this chat, don't want him seeing it if he snoops. I closed the laptop like it burned me. My hands were shaking so bad I spilled my tea. $40,000. Half our life savings. The money we'd talked about using for a down payment on a bigger house, for a honeymoon upgrade to Tuscany, she'd begged for a villa with a pool, for emergency funds if one of us lost our job. And she was gonna steal it, run off with the guy who broke her heart, and leave me at the altar? I wanted to yell, to wake her up and confront her, but I stopped. I'm an engineer, I don't act on impulse. I took screenshots of the chat, emailed them to myself, and to a secure cloud drive, then back up our joint bank statements, the house deed, and every receipt for furniture we'd bought together. I text my cousin Jake, who's a divorce lawyer in Chicago. We'd grown up together, gone to the same high school, and he'd helped me with the house closing. I think my fiancée is gonna steal our savings and run with her ex, I wrote. What do I do? Jake called me 10 minutes later. First thing tomorrow morning, freeze the joint account, tell the bank it's a potential fraud concern, that you suspect someone might try to withdraw funds without your permission. They'll put a temporary hold on it, both of you have to be present to unlock it. Second, secure the house, change all the locks first thing, make sure she can't get in without your permission. Third, don't let her know you know, play dumb. The more she thinks you're clueless, the less likely she is to rush and mess up. If she confronts you, act hurt, act confused, make her think you're still the same pushover she's counting on. So I played dumb. The next night, I planned a pre-wedding relaxation night. I ordered her favorite durian pizza, the one I hate but eat just for her, even though it makes my breath smell for hours, and bought that cheap red wine she likes from the corner store. We sat on the couch, and she picked at her pizza, not touching her wine. Ethan, she said, voice quiet, tears welling up in her eyes. I can't marry you. My heart dropped, even though I knew it was coming. What? Mia, why? Is this cold feet? We can work through it, everyone gets nervous before weddings. Remember when I panicked about giving a speech? You told me it'd be fine. She shook her head, tears spilling down her face. She reached into her nightstand drawer and pulled out a silver necklace, Jax's old necklace, the one he'd given her for their 1-year anniversary, the one she'd sworn she'd thrown into Lake Michigan after they broke up. It's Jax. We've been talking for months. He reached out, said he's changed, that he still loves me. Ethan, with you, it's comfortable. Safe. But with him? I feel alive. Like, the kind of alive I haven't felt in years, staying up till 3 a.m. talking, driving to nowhere just because, feeling that rush of excitement every time he texts. I know it's selfish, but I can't marry you knowing my heart's with someone else. There it was, the comfortable line, just like Jax had coached her. She even put on that guilty face, lower lip trembling, like she was doing me a favor by telling the truth. I pretended to be crushed, my voice cracking. I don't know what to say. I thought we had something real. I thought this house, this wedding, we were building a life together. I thought you wanted that too. Mia looked relieved, like she expected me to beg her to stay, to promise to be more exciting, to do anything to keep her. I'm so sorry, she said, reaching out to touch my hand. I never meant to hurt you. But this is what I need. I hope you can understand. I get it, I said, forcing tears to fall. I'd practiced in the mirror earlier, just to make it convincing. If this is what makes you happy, go. I won't stop you. I need some space. I'll stay with Tom for a few days to clear my head. She didn't protest, if anything, she seemed eager to have the house to herself. I understand, she said, fake sniffling. Take all the time you need. We can talk about splitting things later, the house, the savings, whatever. I don't want to fight. That night, I packed a bag, a few shirts, jeans, my laptop, the important documents I'd backed up, and drove to Tom's apartment. Tom's my best friend from college, the guy who'd helped me move into the townhouse, who'd been my groomsman. He listened as I told him everything, the chat logs, the ticket, the necklace, and he was furious. That bitch, he said, pouring me a beer. Do you want me to go over there and confront her? I'll make her regret it. No, I said. Jake says to play it cool. Let her think she's winning. The more she messes up, the easier this will be. As soon as I got to Tom's, I called the bank, Chase, where we'd opened the joint account. I think my fiancée might try to withdraw funds without my permission, I said to the banker. We're having some relationship issues, and I'm worried she'll take the money and run. The banker was understanding. She put a temporary freeze on the account, saying, both account holders need to be present in person with ID to unlock it. No exceptions. Next, I scheduled a locksmith to change all the locks on the townhouse first thing in the morning, front door, back door, even the patio slider. Then I texted Jake, who drafted a legal notice stating that all shared assets, the house, the savings, the furniture we'd bought together, were to be split per Illinois law, 50-50, no, half the savings, for her little scheme. He emailed it to me, and I printed a copy to keep in my bag. The next morning, I got a text from Mia, can I come get some of my clothes? I need them for a wedding vendor meeting later. I replied, sure, the keys under the mat, help yourself. I knew she'd go straight for the safe where we kept the house deed, extra cash, and her passport, but I'd already moved it to Jake's office the night before. Sure enough, an hour later, she texted me, where's the safe? I need to grab my passport, my sister wants me to visit her in New York next month. I replied, I moved it to storage, I was worried about it getting lost in the wedding chaos. We can get it together later when I'm back. She didn't text back. Later that day, Tom sent me a photo. He'd driven by the townhouse to check on things, and Mia was there with Jax, trying to break into the safe. They looked frustrated. Jax was yanking on the handle. Mia was yelling at him to, be careful, you'll break it. I forwarded the photo to Jake, who said, keep it, it's evidence of intent to steal. If she tries to sue later, this will sink her case. The next few days were a blur of cancellations. I called the church first, St. Michael's, where we'd booked the ceremony for $7,500. The coordinator, Sister Mary, sounded disappointed. Mia called yesterday to confirm the floral arrangements, white roses down the aisle, just like she wanted. Are you sure you want to cancel? Yeah, I said. The wedding's off. The bride changed her mind. She sighed. I'm sorry, Ethan. I'll process the cancellation, but the deposit's non-refundable. I hung up, $2,000 down the drain, but it didn't matter. Next, the reception venue, the Oak Park Mansion, $15,000 for the space. The manager was less sympathetic. You're canceling 2 weeks out? That's a breach of contract. We'll keep the full deposit. I argued for 10 minutes, but he wouldn't budge. Then the caterer, Mia's favorite Italian place, $12,000 for 100 guests. They kept the $4,000 deposit. The band, a local indie group she'd picked, $5,000. They refunded half. The honeymoon, 2 weeks at a villa in Tuscany, $20,000, which I'd booked as a surprise. The villa owner was kind enough to give me a partial refund, $10,000 back. By the end of it, I'd lost $18,000 in deposits, but I didn't care. I just wanted out. Mia texted me once, 3 days before the wedding, have you cooled down? Can we talk? I miss you. I replied with a vague, I'm still processing. Give me a few more days. She didn't suspect a thing. She was too busy planning her escape. Tom told me he'd seen her and Jax at a gas station downtown, buying snacks and talking about the tour. Jax had a beat-up van with the Renegades painted on the side, and Mia was loading a suitcase into the back. Wedding day arrived. I woke up at Tom's, drank a coffee, and sat on his couch watching old episodes of The Office. I didn't feel sad. I felt numb, like I was watching someone else's life unfold. Around 10 a.m., my phone blew up with notifications. Neighbors were texting me videos. Mia and Jax were standing in front of our townhouse, yelling. Jax was holding a stack of papers, the fake authorization form he'd made her sign, claiming I'd given her permission to access the account, and Mia was screaming about the locks being changed. Ethan changed the locks. He's being ridiculous. We just need to get my stuff, she yelled, pacing back and forth in her yoga pants and a hoodie, not exactly the runaway bride look she'd probably imagined. Then Jax snapped. He grabbed her arm, yelled, you said you'd get the money. You said he'd be too soft to fight back. Now we're stuck here with nothing, and pushed her. Mia stumbled, then started yelling back, you told me this would work. You said he'd let me take the money. This is your fault. They started shoving each other, and a crowd gathered. Neighbors were filming, taking photos, even yelling at them to get a room. One of them, Mrs. Gonzalez from next door, texted me, do you want us to call the cops? They're making a scene. I replied, no, thanks, just send me the videos. I forwarded the videos to all our mutual friends, our families, even Mia's coworkers. I didn't add any comments. The footage spoke for itself. My mom called, crying, I'm so sorry, honey. You didn't deserve this. Do you want us to come to Chicago? No, I said. I'm fine. Really? Mia's mom called, screaming, you humiliated my daughter. How could you? She's heartbroken. I just sent her the chat screenshots between Mia and Jax. She hung up and never called back. By noon, the videos were all over local Facebook groups. Bride-to-be caught fighting with ex after trying to steal savings from fiancé. Comments were brutal. She's lucky he didn't press charges. Jax looks like a total scumbag. Good riddance. He dodged a bullet. Mia's social media accounts went dark. She deleted Instagram, Facebook, everything. Her sister texted me once, apologizing. I had no idea she was planning this. I'm so sorry, Ethan. I replied, it's not your fault. A week later, I put the townhouse up for sale. I priced it $50,000 below market, $850,000 instead of $900,000. I didn't care about the money, I just wanted out. The place smelled like Mia's coconut shampoo, had our initials on the bookshelf, had the roses we'd planted together, they'd bloomed, bright pink, just in time for the wedding that never was. Every time I walked in, I felt sick. A month later, it sold to a young couple, a teacher and a nurse, who loved the backyard garden. We split the profit, $220,000 each. I transferred her half to her bank account, no note, no text. I didn't want anything else to do with her. Meanwhile, I accepted the transfer to my firm's Seattle office. I'd always wanted to live there. I loved the rain, the mountains, the laid-back vibe of Capitol Hill. Mia had hated it, calling it too gloomy and too far from her friends. Now, it felt like the perfect fresh start. I gave notice at my Chicago job, packed up my stuff, and drove cross-country with Tom. We took the scenic route, stopped at Mount Rushmore, camped in the Badlands, and laughed until our sides hurt. It was exactly what I needed to reset. Seattle was everything I hoped it'd be. I rented a loft in Capitol Hill with floor-to-ceiling windows and views of the Cascades. At night, I could see the lights of downtown and the outline of Mount Rainier in the distance. I joined a hiking club, never thought I'd be a hiking guy, but there's something therapeutic about walking up a mountain and breathing in the fresh, pine-scented air. I threw myself into work. My new team was great, and the projects were challenging but rewarding. I was working on a new office building downtown, designing the structural supports for the glass facade. A month into the new job, I walked into a client meeting and froze. The lead representative from the partner firm was Lila, my college senior, the term for an upperclassman who's ahead in school. We'd had a structural engineering class together senior year, and I'd had the biggest crush on her. She was smart, funny, and had this way of making even the most boring lectures about load-bearing walls interesting. She'd aced every exam, won the department's top student award, and always had a smile for everyone. I was too shy to ask her out back then. I thought she was out of my league, too focused on her career to date a nervous junior. She remembered me too, her face lighting up when she saw me. "Ethan. Long time no see. How have you been?" After the meeting, she pulled me aside. "I heard what happened with Mia," she said, her voice gentle. "A mutual friend from college told me. I'm so sorry, you didn't deserve that. I remember how happy you two seemed at the alumni mixer last year." I was shocked. I didn't think anyone from college knew. "Thanks," I said, awkwardly scratching the back of my neck. "It sucks, but I'm doing better now. Seattle's been good for me." "We should grab coffee sometime," she said. "Catch up. I've been through my share of bad breakups, I get it." We started grabbing coffee after work every Friday. At first, it was just small talk, work, Seattle's weather, our favorite hiking trails. But then we started opening up. She told me about her ex, who cheated on her with a coworker and stole her internship stipend to buy gifts for the other girl. She'd quit her job, moved to Seattle, and built a new life for herself. Now she was a senior project manager at her firm. I told her about Mia, about the chat logs, the stolen savings plan, the wedding that never was. She didn't pity me, she listened, nodded, and said, "You're better off without her. Anyone who'd betray you like that doesn't deserve you." We started hiking on weekends. She took me to Mount Rainier, to Discovery Park, to that hidden beach with the driftwood sculptures. She taught me how to read trail maps, how to spot wildlife. We saw a family of deer. Once, and she almost cried, and how to appreciate the rain. She brought a fancy waterproof jacket and laughed when I showed up in a cheap hoodie. We'd pack sandwiches, sit on a rock, and talk for hours, about our childhoods, our dreams, our fears. She got my love for spreadsheets and stability, my obsession with fixing things. I'd brought a toolkit on our first hike and fixed a broken bench, my hatred for pineapple on pizza. It was easy, no pressure, no drama, just two people who'd been burned and were taking it slow. 3 months later, I asked her to dinner at that fancy seafood place on Pier 66, the one with the views of the Puget Sound. I was nervous, but she said yes with a smile. We talked until the restaurant closed, then walked along the waterfront, holding hands. It was cold, and she'd laughed when I offered her my jacket. When I dropped her off at her apartment, I kissed her, soft, quick, scared I'd messed up. She kissed me back, and suddenly, all the pain from Mia felt like a distant memory. Meanwhile, Mia's life fell apart. I heard from Tom that she'd lost her job. Her boss saw the videos and didn't want the drama at work. Jax had ghosted her after the fight, taking the $15,000 she'd given him to book the tour van and disappearing. She was stuck with $20,000 in wedding cancellation fees. She'd tried to sue me for emotional distress, but Jake threw together a packet of evidence and the judge dismissed the case in 10 minutes. To make ends meet, she was working 2 jobs, days at a Starbucks downtown, nights at a bar in Lincoln Park. She kept trying to contact me, changing phone numbers, begging for forgiveness, then money, then threatening to show up at my office. I blocked every number, and Jake sent her a cease and desist letter. After that, she went quiet. 6 months later, I heard Jax's band had broken up. He owed $30,000 to venues and bandmates and ran back to his parents' house. Mia was left holding the bag, owing $8,000 to wedding vendors and $12,000 in credit card debt. A year after the wedding that never was, I had to go back to Chicago to sign the final paperwork for the townhouse sale. Lila came with me. We planned to visit old friends and eat deep dish pizza. We were walking out of the Cook County Courthouse when I heard a voice. "Ethan?" It was Mia. She looked terrible, cheap jacket, messy hair, dark circles under her eyes. She was holding court summonses for $15,000 in unpaid bills. "I'm so sorry," she cried, grabbing my arm. "Jax used me. I lost everything. Can we talk? Just give me one more chance." Lila stepped forward, placing a hand on my shoulder. Mia's eyes flicked to her, then back to me. "You moved on just like that?" "I didn't move on just like that," I said, pulling my arm away. "I healed. You made your choices, stole from me, lied to me, left me for a guy who didn't care. This is on you." I pulled out the mutual non-contact agreement Jake had drafted, plus that black t-shirt with Jax's logo. "Sign this, no more contact. Take the shirt. Let this be the end." She signed, tears streaming. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I know," I said. "Goodbye, Mia." Lila and I walked away. Back in Seattle, we moved in together a few months later. We fixed up the loft, planted herbs on the balcony, and I started a small custom furniture side business, sold my first coffee table for $3,500. Last month, I proposed to her at the top of Mount Rainier. She said yes, laughing and crying. We're getting married next summer, small and simple, with the people we love. Looking back, Mia's betrayal was terrible. But it pushed me to Seattle, to Lila, to a life built on trust, not lies. She wanted passion that fades. I found happiness that grows. Sometimes the worst things lead you to the best. I'm living proof. And for Mia? I hope she finds peace. But that's up to her. As for me? I'm exactly where I want to be.